Hi everyone, I'm Cameron. I work for Black Hills as a pen tester. We have Nicholas back there, but he's camera shy. And then this work was also done in conjunction with Kevin, Lucas, and Samir. And the work I'm presenting revolves around improving the usability of the Tor browser. So why does the usability of the Tor browser need to be improved? So the amount of privacy and anonymity that you can get through using the Tor browser depends on the number of other people on a network. It's being lost in a crowd type of situation. And the Tor browser, unfortunately, has many UX problems that drives people way lowering that total number of people. These issues are like broken URLs, CAPTCHAs, and blocks. Other browsers have issues too, but can typically fix these issues since they acquire a vast amount of telemetry that can tell them what's wrong. Tor users are extremely privacy conscious, and therefore the Tor browser does not collect any of this same telemetry, which makes tracing down issues quite challenging. So UX problems will stay invisible because of the lack of information to detect them in the first place. So we developed a browser plugin that could help with this type of reporting. It looks like you see on screen. The URL is collected with query string strip to maintain privacy. We also collected the exit node, which hope in an ideal situation would be autofilled, but this was not possible due to privacy technology in the browser, so it was filled from a drop-down instead. Browser security level, as well as the problems experienced. This list of likely problems was developed through a week-long pilot study, and participants could select any number of issues they thought fit. In addition, there's a free-form text response where you can add any information you feel relevant and willing to share, and then you can send the report. So during the study, reports went to a research database. This was running behind an Onion service, so by virtue of using the Tor network to send the reports, they were fully encrypted. Once there was just a Flask server that parsed the reports and organized all of the relevant information into a Mongo database. To test the effectiveness of this plugin, we had two research questions. The first is, can such an anonymous user-driven issue reporting mechanism facilitate the collection of useful data from motivated users about the problems they face during everyday online browsing via Tor browser? The second question was, can issue reports from these motivated users of Tor browser enable a deeper understanding of the underlying causes of the problems encountered? So for evaluating this, we used 3 data sources, the first being the plugin when we encountered an issue. This was an autobiographical study with the 5 authors over a month. So every time we encountered an issue, we would submit a problem report. That report would be sent to the database, and then we would continue browsing. So this proceeded every time we encountered an issue, there were lots of issues. In addition, to help evaluate the plugin itself, at the end of each day, we all submitted a daily questionnaire with things that were not captured or things that we learned after the fact. And then at the end of the study, one of the authors interviewed the others 4, leading to post-study interviews, which uncovered even more data about the usefulness of the plugin, as well as the less technical details of what problems drove users away. All right. So why did we choose to use an autobiographical approach? Tor users are extremely privacy sensitive and therefore hard to recruit. In addition, we needed people who were invested enough in the study to use the Tor browser as their default browser for an entire month, leaving the browser only when we encountered issues. Previous work had trouble recruiting even just at 13 or 17 users for studies, so we decided that the researchers would make a good informed population to perform this research. So there were 5 of us using it for 40 days, and in total we collected 119 reports of issues encountered while using the Tor browser, filled out 109 daily questionnaires, and 4 post-study interviews. So what did we learn from these reports? The vast majority of issues were resources being completely inaccessible over the Tor browser. The second most common issue reported was CAPTCHAs. Frequently was infinite CAPTCHAs where you complete 1, 10, or some unknown number until you gave up. Content being broken, other issues, and timeouts. You'll notice this adds up to more than 100%, and that is because frequently it was either impossible for the end user to determine what the issue was, or there were multiple issues occurring at the same time. Now, importantly, we were able to reproduce half of these issues, which showed that the plugin was useful for generating data that could be reproduced and used towards improving the user experience. So after looking at all of the data, there were several root causes that accounted for most issues experienced. The first was explicit blocks, where content delivery networks and application firewalls banned Tor traffic. For example, anything behind the Akamai network would be completely inaccessible, so good luck booking your Airbnb. The second was dynamic blocks, where Cloudflare IP scoring systems and similar systems flag Tor exit nodes as malicious, not because they know they come from Tor, but because of the traffic patterns, which inherently look different from ClearNet traffic. There were in a similar vein, there were lots of bot flagged exits, which would lead to many of the infinite CAPTCHAs. And occasionally there was instances where it was not the CDN or WAF to blame, but a website itself would respond differently to ClearNet traffic than it would to Tor traffic. And then we encountered several issues of timeouts or other harder to observe issues where Tor traffic was being silently dropped instead of obviously blocked. Our aggregated analysis showed that there were 3 things that annoyed Tor users the most. It was first uncertainty. Sometimes you could fix an issue with a circuit refresh, sometimes you couldn't. The attribution of an issue was challenging because it made it hard to know if it was something you could solve yourself or if you were going to have to use another browser. And occasionally we would exit with nodes in different languages and have to refresh it until we got one we could understand. So we have several ideas for improving the Tor user experience in the short term. The first is routing traffic through less popular exit nodes. The hypothesis being that since there is less traffic through these nodes, they're less likely to get detected by IP scoring systems as malicious. The second is to integrate ReporTor into the Tor browser directly, and then through this crowdsourcing, provide data that researchers can start using to improve Tor browser and improve the experience of browsing with it. On that note, I managed to finish early, unlike the practice talks. So if you have any questions, we'll be over at the poster today.